You're listening to the We Are Libertarians podcast network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com.
All right, let's get back to some boring subjects.
Understand the risk to our country.
Freedom brings people together. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us. Harry's got show notes, so we were prepared for a podcast, but then Trump. So we'll talk about Iran and probably start with what Harry wanted to talk about because I'm exhausted. All right, we'll be back right after these words.
Warning. This show is for adults, produced by semi-adults.
Horrible
So the
transition.
language is sometimes strong and offensive.
I don't know what I said.
Welcome to We Are Libertarians, where our goal is to help you sound smarter while talking to your friends. We examine current events from a libertarian perspective while treating modern politics with all of the irreverence it deserves.
There has been lie after lie.
We toss out the screaming heads, put people before political parties, and give context to the news to make you think. Now, here's our host, a 15-year veteran of politics and media, Chris Spangle.
All right, welcome to We Are Libertarians, the longest running libertarian podcast in history. Or at least I would say the last current active libertarian, because Free Talk Live, I don't think they're still going, are they?
Well,
They may have gone longer.
Yeah, that's a radio show. Does they count? They have radio.
Right. They were a radio show that put it on a podcast.
Yeah.
But We Are Libertarians. We're approaching March 12th, 2012. So we're approaching our 14th anniversary on March 12th.
Yeah. Because everyone else was like a radio show, or they started there and then came to podcast, at least at our age.
Yeah. What do you want headphones?
No, you pointed at headphones. So
I was trying to decide if I wanted to wear headphones.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't mean to throw you off. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. You are wearing the sexy shorts for the Patreon only video feed.
I know. We're not doing video today. So my apologies to Christy Avery. I just don't feel like it. I do so much editing now. My life is literally wall-to-wall constant podcast editing. And just like, I don't have to do video because this is an audio, like hundreds of people listen to the audio and dozens watch the video, and they can just listen on YouTube on the audio feed. So it's just like, I just wasn't feeling it today. So my apologies to Christy Avery, who's the only person that seems to actually care about the video. But we don't cut clips from this, that kind of thing. So it's just like, I don't know, there's something healing in my soul about doing the thing that I want to do in the way that we've always done it, which is just sit down, press a button, talk into the microphones, and have fun. That's just, without all the Hollywood production of video.
And 80% of the time record it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the actual anniversary of the podcast is March 2nd, 2012. I just didn't hit record. So from the very beginning, we were making mistakes.
Deep cut.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, we're meeting the last Saturday of the month to get together and chit chat about the world and life, and just because I really feel like if we don't, we won't get together.
Right. Yeah. It forces us together and it helps us be consistent.
Yes.
You know, like doing this is the day we're going to do it. Yep. Instead of like, let's do it, let's just plan. No, last Saturday, it's easy for me to plan and look forward to.
Yep.
And it's going to come. Like, no, last Saturday of the month, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I keep things off my calendar and I look at my calendar sometimes like, why the heck do I have nothing planned for that morning? Oh, yeah. I got
Do you remember when we did this show twice a week?
Yes, I do.
10 years ago? Like,
Tuesday
I can't imagine. And it was so much fun.
Was it 10 years ago?
It was like 2017, 18. Yeah, you're right. That's like, what, 8?
It was when I
8
started.
Because that's
okay.
Good. Because Gunther was around when we started doing twice a week. Yeah.
I mean, that was a commitment. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But our lives look radically different now.
Back in the old apartment.
Yeah.
I know. It's coming so much. I upgraded the chair I was sitting in because it's so uncomfortable.
You made me buy gaming chairs.
Yes. Yeah.
Which it was the right call.
Yeah. And then got the temperature. Like the temperature in here now is nice. I can almost take my coat off.
I don't control the temperature. It's a steady 69 degrees.
You have a space heater in here if you wanted.
I wouldn't. Yeah, so when we plan out, like we think we're going to talk about this thing
Mhm.
when we get together.
Yeah.
And we literally then like woke up this morning and the president started bombing Iran.
It seems like
Put that mic up just a bit,
yeah,
please.
so there's one podcast I listen to that they have this history of whenever they go to record something, by the time they're done, something else has happened and they have to stop and re-record it, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that with us a little bit. Like it was like 2 months ago or something when Freddie was killed.
That was last month.
Was it-
That was 1 month ago.
That's
no, it was
That's what
2.
I'm saying. We were in the
No, that was 2 months ago because last month we did it
Zoom.
online.
We
Zoom.
were here because it was snowing. That was a month ago, Reinhold.
Yeah.
When Freddie?
Yeah. I forgot to introduce you guys.
That
this
is right.
that's
when we
Reinhold
watched the
talking, and
video,
that's Harry.
That is exactly right. I forgot about that.
We were in the middle of the show.
We should kind of
thanks for gesturing to us for the video feed.
Yeah, right.
like the end of every month now. We're going to be sitting here and something's going to happen and change everything we have planned.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fine.
So here's the thing. I was pretty sure we were going to bomb Iran because I hadn't been paying attention to much of it, but we have friends who live in Jordan.
Mhm.
And about a month ago, my wife talked to the friend who lives in Jordan, and they were saying that the entire country is full of American military men and women.
Mhm.
And so like in basically 1 month from from December to January, Jordan basically swelled like a tick with American servicemen and women.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that signals something bigger than just like he's going to do some bombing. If you've got and you've been moving all these warships and you're staging people and you're moving in like
Right.
Kuwait,
Yeah.
Afghanistan, that's something bigger than this is just probably going to be bigger than just bombing.
Correct.
We got a lot of people saying that, he's just doing this to negotiating so he can get a better deal.
Right.
And so he's threatening this. He's not actually going to do this. I'm like, okay.
These are the people that buy all. This is what he gets away with everything because he's great at the first impression. Okay, so he's so big and bold and takes action and he sends people in to capture Maduro. And then even though I'm a non-interventionist libertarian, I'm going to support this because the poor people of Venezuela need this. And
Poor people of Iran.
And what people tend to do when he takes action is they project their best hopes and dreams onto the outcome to absolve him of having carried out something with absolutely no planning, no forethought, no explaining to the American people why, what's the rationale, how are we getting involved, and then just kind of leaves and lets the consequences and the chips fall where they may. And then you look back and you go, oh, Venezuela is still run by the exact same government.
Mhm.
Nothing has changed there for anyone. And the only thing that's changed is an increased risk of civil war. But there's not much that's meaningfully changed there. But we never actually go back and look at the results. The people that do go back and look at the results of every decision Trump makes, like tariffs, everything corruption related, foreign intervention, the results are never good. Like the economy was devastated by Donald Trump being president during COVID.
Yep.
He's the one who initiated and gave cover to Republican governors specifically to shut down the economy. He wrote 3 stimulus packages. He's the one that bellied up all these companies. If you were against the vaccine, he's the guy that created Warp Speed. He put Fauci in charge, right? And so the people who disagree with all that, and he never actually, the consequences never stick to him, because what he does is he takes bold action. Everybody defends it. He does another thing the next week that completely distracts us from the last thing, so we never see the end of the story. And then if we do, you just are woke and have Trump derangement syndrome if you go, yeah, actually the tariffs aren't working, they're destroying the economy. Actually, his immigration policy is evil. Actually, nothing has changed in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Well, you just have TDS. Okay. So and then if consequences do kind of bubble up to the public conversation, then it's Biden's fault or Chuck Schumer's fault, or it's never his fault.
The evil Democrats.
Yeah.
This pattern is applied constantly, and it is his genius being mentally disturbed and declining and erratic really works out for him.
And he hates being told no. He's very, very angry and forceful when he's told no, which lends credence to a lot of the sexual assault charges that he gets against him, because it's kind of the same mentality. But if this were like a regular time, we would be talking about how everybody would be wall to wall talking about the fact that we're in a shutdown.
Oh, are
Did
we?
you know we
I
are?
didn't know. I
Yes.
We've been in a shutdown for partial shutdown for weeks.
No clue. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been partial shutdown.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. No one cares.
I'm woefully underinformed.
Hey,
Which is the lack of frequency of this show. I just feel guilty coming and talking when I'm not paying attention.
Before so I get an hour drive to come here, right? So I'm getting ready to leave, and you're like, and I'm like, let me check to see what's going on, because I hadn't even looked at my phone yet this morning before I left. And I was like, oh, we're bombing Iran. I'm like, oh, okay. So now you find out what's going on. So I get in the car thinking, I'll just pop on some talk radio, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Well, no, you're not going to find
get anything in the city. You get nothing but sports talk.
That's because it's all canned.
And you got some,
You grew up in a time where if you turned on the radio or the television, you would get live announcers, people in the studio.
Yeah.
That died 20 years ago. Like when I worked at a news talk station 20 years ago in 2004, 13 people worked on that little AM station. 50th rated station in the 50th market had 13 people on it. I left 4 years later and there were 2 left. Now it is all syndicated programming. So
I was checking around though. I was looking at high def channels. You can get the multiple streams. One of them, the 92.3 one, has got, the one radio. Then they got another radio station, like 96 something, on the second channel.
Yeah.
The third channel, dead air.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But they own it and won't let anyone else use it.
So what I did is I turned on YouTube and turned on Al Jazeera. This is what I listened to on the way in.
Yep.
So the internet gives you access to other avenues, but nothing local, nothing like.
No, yeah, and it seems like they do everything out of their power. By that, when I say they, I mean corporations.
Yeah.
Because it helps them save money. Hiring someone local and doing everything local, it costs money to do that.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do advertising local because they've got the Walmarts of the world have also gutted a lot of the local businesses that can help pay for local radio, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you get too big locally, they'll drop you.
Right. If you are a media outlet that is locally focused, you will thrive, and it will only increase in this day and age. Like I think the world of AI, I think we've reached a tipping point with social media where people don't believe anything. Like I saw Iran hit the fleet in Bahrain.
Yeah.
And it was a video of an American ship getting bombed. And I shared it to my Instagram stories, and I thought, nah, let me take that down. I don't know if that's true or not. Right. It looked real, but who the hell knows?
Right.
So I just think like
we've been doing that a lot lately, where they're showing footage of stuff that happened 4 years ago to say this is what's happening now.
Yeah.
But it's some other place in some other situation, and you have to catch that. And
Ukraine and Russia, that whole war, Israel and Palestine, that's like the bellwether. Like you aren't going to be able to trust anything. But I just think if you can go to an event and meet a reporter or an editor, I see this at where I work, like people really, really trust that publication because they can go to an event and meet those people. The people that are being covered know the people that are covering them, and so therefore the trust is increased. And I don't think you will have news from here on out that you'll trust in any other format.
Right.
And so I think local radio, local TV, local print, local blogs, like I think there's a tremendous opportunity, and especially for podcasting. We see it with Boss Hog of Liberty.
Yep. Boss
Hog is the media outlet in Newcastle, Indiana, because everybody knows Jeremiah. He moderates all the conversations. It's Jeremiah's little dinky podcast that I named because he was kind of bossy and it was a little inside joke. The media in Henry County in East Central Indiana. So I think, you turn on CNN and you watch CNN about Iran, they don't tell you anything. They just tell you, well, they're striking here. Okay, well, they don't ever explain where, who. I watched CNN for an hour, and I had no idea that Iran was attacking other Middle Eastern countries until I turned on Al Jazeera. And that's because CNN is too afraid to say anything that they can't verify, so they say nothing. And so it's just like worthless information. You're just wasting my time. So I having lived through the Ukrainian-Russian thing, you really do Israel and Palestine. I just didn't follow a lot of it and go, well, are you for genocide? I'm like, I don't know it. Like, I know it's bad on me, but at what point do I have to spend 8 hours a day investigating the accuracy of every piece of information on every story? Like, I've got 3 little kids. I've got a job. I've got a side business. I've got hobbies.
Yep.
I'm buying a house. Like, I can't spend all day trying to figure out if a video of an American ship being attacked is real or not. So I don't know. I think people just check out, and that just makes it easier for the liars, crooks, and thieves to thrive in the darkness. So I'm not saying I'm right. I'm probably wrong. I think we should be more informed. I just lived so much of my life hyper informed that I'm just like, I don't know. I'm exhausted.
The thing is that when we're having this kind of turmoil and everything going on, is usually because people are pushing for that. When other people are in power and charge, sometimes it's just calm and you can figure things out and you can take a break. You just can take a breath. You can't take a breath in this country anymore.
Yeah, how can you hold me accountable for the Epstein files if I'm bombing a new country every month?
Yeah.
So just every time we start to get some momentum on that, then something else happens. And it's like, well, this isn't going to go away.
I've got 3,000 paramilitary troops with masks on in one city taking over.
Bob Kerrey, the former senator, calling it all the Epstein stuff a conspiracy. And all these conspiracy theories, people are falling for. He's in the files, by the way. And it's like, it's all in black and white. They wrote it down.
Well, and then
they wrote down that they're eating babies.
Then you get the people who, for some reason, whether it's because they know they can make a buck or because they just are contrarians, are now going, well, like Robbie Schwab and Reason. He's defending it. He's like, there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
Dude just left nothing.
Dude just left his wife and kid. Maybe he's not thinking.
Poor Robin.
It's just like, you just it's crazy. And you always you can't just get in a consensus and say, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Without somebody saying, oh, that's complete lie.
It's never going back. Like, can we all agree? I mean,
well, I don't know. See,
I think Trump gets the blame. I was thinking about Trump gets the blame for all of this, but I think we have to prepare ourselves for a fundamentally different reality than we've ever lived in. Like, when you look at all the people leaving, like the head of Anthropic Safety, quitting, saying, I'm going to do poetry. I'm retiring from AI to go do poetry because humans are in danger, I think was the phrase. You are about to have a fundamentally, if you log onto a screen, you are about to have a fundamentally disconnecting, discombobulating experience. Like, it's like an 8th continent. If you enter into the 8th continent, your experience in reality will be completely upside down, distorted, hard to fathom. And
you don't even know yet because there's a whole genre of science fiction that was created around the notion of eventually we'll have all kind of an internet, and then eventually we'll be able to have virtual reality inside that internet. Eventually we'll be able to jack into that connectivity. And it was all thought of decades ago before there was even really home computers or anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's all coming to fruition. It's all going to be there at some point. But I think we also see cycles of stuff too. I mean, there was a time in the 20s or earlier when you were getting so bad journalism, yellow journalism, Hearst papers, all that stuff was going on. And then there was this nice golden era for about 20 or 30 years where you had the Cronkites and the real news media and the Post and going after Watergate and everything. And then it's slipping away back into the old way again. And I think you'll see that come back around again. People will finally start saying there's some value in having good journalism.
I think I just think that the 40s through the 2010s were a golden age of humanity, where you had people where humanity was large enough to have the resources to produce really cool things, but limited enough to have it all be somewhat concentrated. And you had people who had gone through 2 world wars managing things, so they had a trust in institutions. But I just think in the future, you're never going to have the kind of cohesion and smallness that you had in the 20th century.
All right,
Does that make sense?
Yeah. All right, so you say it's not going to go back. I think it can. I think the United States and countries around the world have showed us that you can have a crazy person running your country and things will snap back. Napoleon have showed us that. Andrew Jackson has showed us that eventually countries snap back to some sort of a better time and normalcy, right? I know Andrew Jackson's like the worst that they're trying to compare Trump to.
No, I think it's a great comparison, actually.
He was the first populist. I mean, this is another populist.
Very,
no, I was just saying because like Andrew Jackson's pretty calm now. But comparatively,
well, Nixon was like the enemy of the institution of democracy for so many years, and it's just like he did hardly anything compared to what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
He'd be rolling in his grave going, why couldn't I get away with that stuff?
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot from like from your perspective is like that 1940 to 2010, that was the greatest generation and the like basically like leading the charge of the United States, holding everything accountable. Granted, they've done some bad things, right? And then I think what we're seeing is like the boomers full in control, destroying freaking everything. And that is the issue. Like,
and Gen X going, we don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gen X is actually the worst generation.
No.
That's a different podcast.
No.
It's the most apathetic generation.
I know. Your cynicism.
Gen X will save us.
Not yours.
The Gen X apathy will save us. You guys have no idea.
We are bathing in their cynicism, and it's killing us because
the
nobody has hope.
Well, we were raised without any direction. We were just latchkey kids running and doing everything.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Like all these millennials are like, and Gen Z are freaking out over the Discord ID thing. And I'm like, every Gen Xer you know is probably still using IRC chat and working right now. It's like, what is like, yeah, IRC is still around. It's still there. You can go back to it. Let's just go back
to the back end of Twitch.
Right. Yeah,
your Twitch chat is IRC, guys.
It's just IRC.
You know what you're doing.
Just go back to IRC chat. It's all we're going to
have IRC bots on the chat channels, the Twitch channels. I like just monitoring it and recording it.
Yeah,
for fun.
Yeah, we're just going to go back to IRC. It's okay. That's all we're doing. Yeah.
Go ahead, Harry.
But yeah, and it wasn't for like a trying also between to get to the state. It's just computing wasn't powerful enough to do what they wanted to do for the type of control they wanted to do in our systems. Like they tried to outlaw encryption in the 90s. Everyone remember Brian will probably remembers the encryption war.
Well, you had
to try to outlaw encryption.
You couldn't have a OS sold. Windows couldn't be sold in Europe because we couldn't have the extra encryption in there. You had to have 2 different versions because we couldn't export those encryption technology.
Gotcha. You still can't. That's still considered like an arms weapon here in the United States.
Let's bring it back before we get too tangential on encryptions in the 90s for European software.
And gone a little astray.
Yes.
And then and then them wanting to track and just pulled everything. But at the time, it was like hard drives weren't that large. So they couldn't pull everything down. So everything was selective of what they can pull. And now thankfully AI has made the AI infrastructure rollout has made storage more expensive now. And which
Western Digital just said that they're completely sold out of hard drives.
Yeah.
Well, you want
capacity.
A great example of what I think we're trying to get to here is that there was the protester in, I think it was Chicago, not Minnesota, but a Chicago one, where she got shot 5 times.
Yeah.
They were trying to call her a domestic terrorist. She's the one that instigated everything, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's not what happened. And she fought against it. Yeah. And then they finally just backed off, so we're going to charge you. But they kept saying that she was this. So she finally went and pushed a suit through saying, you need to release this information. If you're going to keep calling me this, you need to release this information so I can defend myself. And what we find out in that investigation was that as soon as the thing happened, they went and pulled from a company who Ring was going to partner with, but didn't. But they're the one to make the license plate readers,
like the red camera. Forum.
They had
starts with
an F.
Yeah, Flock. Yes,
Flock. That's it.
Amazon just dropped their contract.
They found that they could follow this. They followed this woman's movements in her car for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They knew where she was for 30 days, every minute of it.
Yep. And
that's scary.
Well, these cameras all across 465 and in your small towns. So like Indiana, who's put all these different cameras out, and like, oh, these things are keep us safe, blah, 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 blah. I was like, hey, these things are pushing things out unencrypted, talking to the internet. I was trying to show people months ago that I had a script on my computer. I was like, I was tracking every license plate that left our neighborhood. It's like I knew exactly who came in and out of the neighborhood.
Using what camera and how?
The camera readers. They're on the internet. They're talking.
Oh wow.
Unencrypted.
Okay, so you unencrypted. All right,
Yeah,
And you can
I
just
go
pick it
watch
up.
traffic cams all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can pick up the traffic cams and you can just pull in the camera and you just drop
that
it
must
into a
be how
database.
Reinhold, y'all, when he does his little weather things and he zooms around the country and like,
Mhm.
let's go look at Greenwood, Indiana, and then
Yeah. There's the traffic cameras he pulls from. There's also weather spotters that put up cameras for him,
Yeah,
and then NOAA stations.
There's a whole web Earth cam thing. It's been going on for decades.
Yeah.
I mean, when
Right.
the internet first started, there were people put up these cameras in places, and it would be fun to do.
Do you remember
now
that?
It's
But
like
this is different.
This is like person of interest. Did you ever see that TV show with Jim
Yeah.
Caviezel where they, the nerd was able to zoom around the cameras?
Mm-hmm.
in
But
your
this is
city?
different. We're talking about like on the thing, and it is perfectly designed or reading license plates.
Right.
And it actually the system you can actually look at between as a license plate reads between readers and track their miles per hour. And that's pretty much what the system looks like it's designed to do.
Yeah.
But
you're
it can't.
going
But
to
it's
get
doing
automated
it.
tickets in your mail eventually. It's going to happen
For sure.
Yeah, and that's why like the whole thing like with the missing person thing, everyone's freaking out with the Haley thing that was happening up in the Fishers
Haley
area,
Busby.
and reason why they started tracking everything was because like once the FBI and everything got a lot of the information, like here we go, we can ping this camera, we know this license plate, here this person is.
Yeah.
Once I got more info,
Right. So
But we still
I
can't
guess
find
I
this
get.
woman
I
who's
feel like you're
missing.
making. So my fundamental premise here is that Trump is just like a symptom of the chaos that we're all about to experience because of the panopticon, AI, 50% unemployment, like. AI and technology are about to fundamentally upend the human experience in good and bad ways. And you should just get comfortable with living in chaos. Unless you just get a dumb phone and don't own a TV.
No. It's going to get bad, but it's going to get bad because of the bubble. The AI bubble is going to pop. A lot of things are going to explode from it. And
Yeah, I think a lot of people misunderstand what AI really is, and I think that they don't realize that we're reaching a point where it's not going to do what everybody thinks it's going to be doing as quick as it's going to be doing, that they're investing into so much.
Okay.
Eventually, that's going to start showing losses. It's like what happened with the internet bubble in the late 90s, right? So it's because everybody was like, everybody has to have a .com, everybody has to have a website, everybody has to this, but it wasn't ready for it yet, right?
Yeah.
So we weren't ready. It started to collapse, and people were doing crazy amounts of money, just like we're seeing now. They were investing just money everywhere, and then one day somehow it just said no. It started to fall in, and it just boom down. We went in recession because of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, the capacity for AI is capped by data centers, water, and electricity.
All AI is just language model. It's not really AI.
Yeah, but why is Jack Dorsey firing half of his company? He doesn't need 4,000 employees.
Because he had too many people for years.
Yeah.
some companies hire way too
I
many.
mean, we're already seeing
they'll do-
we're already seeing new graduates are unable to find work
Yeah.
because those low level tasks are being fulfilled by those large
not
language model
necessarily.
learning
The
tasks.
task is just that nobody's hiring
There's
anymore.
there's no money to
for
hire.
jobs.
A lot of those startup jobs they was all VC capital, or they were taking loans out. Interest rates were too high for are high now to borrow a lot of cash to bring that new hire.
Everybody's
spend in
pulling
there.
back in.
Yeah, so and everyone's like really because like listen, like hey, we may need our cash on hand. Let's not go spend it yet. You know, it's not that, and a lot of the work needs to happen, but the biggest cap on AI is just more like the human need. You can have many data centers you want, fill the whole country with data centers. But like, there's no humans that want that data. There's no point. There's only so much room for certain things to even happen, and the need to have them happen. So what you can keep training models and getting more efficient, but like to what end? And you've got to show profit. There haven't been any. They haven't because no one has could really do anything with it.
Yeah.
You know, we've all worked with companies that are trying to do this thing because they're trying to solve small little issues, and it just kind of can't. Like, there is like I can completely tell a lot of the time, especially when it comes to security review, which developer is handwriting code versus vibe coding or sending me in stuff like that. You could just blow it apart. I can look at it like, oh crap, nope.
It's the same with writing. It's like I was, it's half of what you see on like your scroll now is just like, this is not part of it. This is blah, blah, blah. Therefore,
YouTube videos are just so many AI videos now.
The bad writing that you see on Instagram, the 10 slides with words, and it's just LinkedIn is unusable. It's like if you're a writer, you can see who is shortcut.
What's funny
God
is,
love our buddy Abdul. I need to take away his ChatGPT.
Yeah.
what's funny is I was watching corporate. We were doing corporate videos all the time where we have to learn how to act in a corporate environment. Whatever.
Yeah.
But it was funny, they were doing one about AI.
You use
and
it to
what
draw
you can do,
boobs.
and then you realize that what they're doing is that the people who are talking are just AI robot. They're just AI.
Yeah.
They're not real, and it's just like it was so obvious and bad. It's just like, how are you giving me a lecture on how the good of AI when you're giving me this horrible stuff?
Yeah, your
don't-
product is bad.
Don't do this
Yep.
until it's ready. It's just people are thinking that they can do things with it that they shouldn't. That
No, that's what I'm
people aren't
saying.
gonna
It has
recognize.
increased information capacity,
Mhm.
but in a way that isn't helpful or good.
Correct.
And so people are
Well,
just
it's helpful
opt
and
out
also
when they're
not helpful.
overwhelmed.
It's both. So it can be used for good, but it's also can be used for bad. Just like the internet can be used for good or bad. I mean, it's TV could be used for
I think
radio
and
phones. All that stuff is technology that moved us forward in a way that at the time thought this is the end times. This is when humanity is going to be different now, forever changed.
Yeah.
And that's always been that way.
Yeah.
And like these AI models, they can create new things. They're just repetitive things of things that have passed. So everything pre that internet phase is what they're all pulling from, right? And so like it just seems like all these data centers are really just built to true images and videos. Like they're trying to go after the art, because to do writing and like that, they've got the capacity, but to actually do full length videos and movies and a lot of images that they kind of want to do. That's the market they really want to go after. They don't have capacity for it.
That's what I'm saying. Like movies, AI movies of the future, and this is the incredible soft power of America. AI movies of the future will just be pale regurgitations of everything from 1980 to 2010, because that was the greatest era of movies, where even marginal movies like What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams, which we watched last night, was like, it was just beautiful and human and well done. It would never get made today because there's no way that they would make money on it. It's just at least I open up my Instagram and Facebook and it's nothing but clips from people on talk shows in the 70s, 80s, 90s. It's like you had this time period where the guys from SCTV or SNL would hang out with each other all the time, constantly, put each other in each other's projects, watch the John Candy documentary. And there's no phone. They're like sitting, they're going out to dinner, they're inviting each other over to each other's house, they're hanging out, and it produces this familiarity, which produces this amazing comedic structure that really blossoms in the 90s, because now those people who have 20 years or 30 years of deep comedic experience in relationships have capital at a time when they're willing to green light almost anything, and it produces great films and great ecosystems.
And then
what do you have now?
Then Lauren Michaels gets a hold of it, and we get like the guys with the
what is love? But like, what do you have now? You have a bunch of people sitting around on their phones at comedy clubs complaining about their mental illnesses. There's not really like a great comedy boom right now from people that are doing really cool, interesting things.
Even the comedians are upset because what you're finding out is that the comedians are getting well known because they're putting their talk with the audience thing. They're putting that on the video, on the internet.
Right.
People are liking that. It's like, that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be doing comedy, well written.
They don't want to burn their material.
Because
but what plays well in this media ecosystem is fundamentally different than what played well in the 90s, which was a really great human story. Rob Reiner was the master of it. What plays well now is, hey, I'm Mr. Beast, I'm going to blow something up. No, pay attention in 2 minutes. You're going to, right? It's like, and then everything is like derivative of the guy who's really the most successful for algorithms. When everything is programmed to an algorithm, it's dog crap. And so I think the great artistry of all of these different creative arts from like the 60s to 2010 are like, that's what AI and that's what creators are going to keep pulling from. And so like 100 years from now, you're going to watch AI movies and it'll feel like Jurassic Park, because it's like people who had the ability to read who had the ability to concentrate, who had human skills of personal interaction, had the capital to make really cool things, and one of those pieces will forever be missing if you're just trying to use technology to create something.
Yeah.
You're not going to have the ability to read. You're not going to have the ability to have a personal interaction with people. You're not going to there's going to be some piece of that magic formula that'll be missing in the future. I don't know. That's
No,
a half-baked thought.
It's not
there,
half-baked because when Reinhold and I touched on some of this in some of the low-key WAL episodes when we talked about the media that defined us, and then we would get mad at Reinhold sometimes for liking certain newer pieces of media, and then it was a simple fact that we just realized oh, Reinhold remembers the old media that this thing is derivative of, and seeing those thoughts and memories, because even when we liked the stuff in the 90s, that's derivative stuff that when Reinhold was a kid from the 50s and 60s, okay?
That's Joseph Campbell, man.
They're watching these old comic books and stuff like that.
The hero's journey.
There was this movie I was watching. It was early 80s, mid 80s, I think, like maybe 85. It came out. I was like, this is a great movie. It's funny. It had Steve Martin in it. It was Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. It was a really fun movie.
Yeah.
I loved it. And so I took some friend of mine and her parents to the movie, and they're like, oh yeah, we saw this 30 years ago. It was called this, and it was a different movie. And it was the exact same movie. It was just regurgitating. We've always done that.
There's a book called Save the Cat, which is about screenwriting, and it's really good, and it's basically the formula. And he's like, by page 4, you need to have your hero established. By page 12, he needs to have a guide. By page 20, he needs to have a crisis. And then it gets better, but then another complicating factor comes in, and then it all works out. And it's like the hero's journey, the Joseph Campbell, all that's like the storytelling formula, right?
I always got bored of that stuff. I always liked something that was always a little different or off like that. So there's a movie called Stranger Than Fiction, which really dives into the idea of
it's Will Ferrell, right?
Yeah, Will Ferrell. But it's writing it. It bombed because everybody was like, I want to go see a Will Ferrell movie, and it's going to be just like
and it was him being normal.
And everything. And it wasn't. It was actually thoughtful and serious for a lot of it. There's comedy in it, but it was a very serious, thoughtful thing, and it was wonderfully done. But it didn't follow the usual path you would see, because there are people who are like, because I watch reactions, and they'll watch some. I've actually seen people react to this movie, not too many, but some. And they have the same thing where they're expecting this to happen, and it doesn't happen this way. Or they're trying to figure it out, and it gets twisted a different way than they thought it was going to. And the best part was when I was watching people, and they would go, well, what about this? And then the movie would answer that question for them right then at that time. Like somebody was doing this movie in a way and watching it back thinking the same thing that everybody else would be thinking. And you don't see that in a lot of movies. Most movies just put the movie out, and then they leave obvious stuff or things that could be explored on the table because they're not thinking about doing something actually thoughtful and meaningful. They just want to make a buck.
Everybody should give us we had the stomach flu, and then we had flu B, like back to back. And so we've been sick for like a month, and so now I'm in the coughing. Like I'm not contagious, but like when you get a sinus thing and then you have 2 weeks of coughing and sneezing. It's been miserable. I lost my voice again. So why don't you give us a final thought on the future of media consumption, and then we'll talk about the Iran nuclear deal and all the stuff that's happening in Iran. How about that?
Okay. I do see the benefits of AI. I'm not going to be like a complete Luddite, even though using that turn of phrase is incorrect anyways, but because there's a lot of different space. So in the VR space, it's really hard and difficult to spin out large pieces of environment, and I think that being as a tool for artists to help spin up large things that are just boring tasks is amazing. I don't think it should be the whole art. I think it can be used as support, just like digital art just helps support regular arts has done in the past. And I think when people are trying to shortcut that, makes some issue. I also understand that businesses wanting to own different things and don't want to get entangled into a lot of the law liability from using arts, but that's mostly blame to the DMCA, the Digital Millennial Copyrights Act. That law needs to be retooled. Also, so to help prosecute LLMs who stole data that they've corporations told us that it's us stealing data, doing the exact same thing they've done, and not having to pay for it. So that it just needs to be rewritten so it actually does reflect our environment that we live in now, and better protect us going forward. Yeah,
cool. So Harry, you've prepared show notes.
I prepared some notes so I can remind myself and like when things are getting talked about. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like so
Because-
let's transition to Iran.
Okay.
Okay, because this is the white whale that Lindsey Graham has been chasing forever.
Yes.
So if you want to kind of go back in time, you could really kind of go back into the 80s, the Paul Wolfowitzes and what were called neocons, which was not neocons, or there's two definitions. The official definition was like Irving Kristol and the neocons, who were former communists, mostly Jewish, who became conservatives. And so had a very specific type of criticism of the American left.
Mhm.
And then that term kind of got taken by conservatives and libertarians and applied to like pro-interventionists. And it's really not an actually great term, but neocons who want a lot of military intervention, like Paul Wolfowitz, Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld in the first Bush
Donald Trump.
administration. Now, I'm talking ideology. Donald Trump does not have ideology. He has a fear of going to hell and being forgotten, so he's going to do whatever he can to be remembered, and that means ruining this country in the process. He
sees a problem. He says, I should be able to go fix it and do whatever I want to make it happen.
Right.
And goes and try to do it.
Right.
And he has no limits or boundaries in anything.
Which is fundamentally different than the first Bush administration, who ideologically wanted to reshape the Middle East through the democratic means, through military means to install democracies. And Iran has always been the head of that snake. If you remember the axis of evil, it was North Korea, Iraq, Iran, and I'm forgetting one other. Was that just those three? ChatGPT it for me. But I'm pretty sure it was those three, but that they were the primary sponsors of terrorism in the world. Iraq, Iran, and North Korea. And so, therefore, regime change had to come to those countries. Even if they were disconnected from the attacks on 9/11, where 19 Saudis attacked America after training in Afghanistan because they followed a Wahhabist named Osama bin Laden, a Saudi Arabian prince. All that we're not going to get involved in all that. Saudi Arabia is fine. They need to, we're just going to go after Iran. We sort of basically, long story short, you have Sunnis and you have Shias, and they don't get along in the Middle East. And America decided to align with Saudi Arabia, especially over the last 10 years, but a little more long term. But over the last 10 to 20 years, America made this strategic decision that we have to choose one of these sides. And so we're going to do what we can to help Saudi Arabia. And if that means becoming Iran's enemy, then so be it. And so therefore, we're going to fight on the side of Saudi Arabia in places like Yemen, in places like Syria and Iraq and other places. And we have to tamp down ISIS, which is funded by Iran and Hezbollah and Hamas. And we're also going to align with Israel. And then the Abraham Accords were about getting these Middle Eastern countries connected with the Israeli economy and opening up economic relationships between them as a way to isolate Iran's power in the region. Mm-hmm. And regime change has been at the top of the goals for the American government since the 70s, since the Iranian people and the Shah of Iran, if you remember that. We've done shows on it in the past. Just look up Iran. We've kind of walked through all of this history during the ISIS period, much more informed then than my fading memory is now. But that is like the rough sketch of what has gone on. And so because of our alliances with Israel and Saudi Arabia in that region, and because of their strategic resources, capital and oil, we want to make sure that Iran is not able to bomb our interests, our allies in that region, here, abroad, wherever. And Iran has aligned itself with Russia and China and North Korea. And that is sort of the geopolitical shape of where things are going. That's why the Israeli-Gazan conflict was playing out in this backdrop. The Ukrainian-Russian war is playing out in that backdrop. That's why you see North Korean soldiers in Ukraine. That's what Taiwan will kind of follow that template, and Syria was all a part of that. But that's like my version. So Harry, why don't you? And that's why the Obama administration with their Iran deal was such an affront to so many Republicans, because the deal that was done with the Iranians that monitored their nuclear progress, that tried to stifle their progress through diplomacy, it was such an anathema to Republicans because they've been so focused on regime change for 50 years, hard power, as opposed to Obama's version of soft power, that it just didn't really work out.
Yeah, but soft power does work. Soft power does work with it.
Yeah.
All right, I will say, I will state it like this. Remember, people, if you're in charge of a country and you win land from a war, don't give that land back. That was stupid. Don't do it.
When?
Huh?
Like Russia?
Yeah.
They haven't won that land yet. Anyways,
Yet.
they haven't won that land yet. No, I'm mostly referring to Israel taking over land of Egypt, because they could have just had that section. They just own it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they gave it back. Hindsight's 2020.
Hey, when you gotta want to negotiate peace, there's
the funny thing about Iran is that we really created that whole situation that's going on right now.
Correct.
We
Yeah.
did.
Because after World War II, everyone was being PC, nicey, but people didn't really like her.
There were oil there. So.
Yeah, oil. But so what would you want to talk about? Like the Iran nuclear, the Iranian nuclear deal, right?
Yeah.
It's an amazing deal. What it only did was supposed to just to limit the way that Iran was enriching uranium, right? Because you need uranium to make the bomb. That's the bomb everybody wants. Everyone wants this bomb, because if you have this bomb, no one will, the superpowers will leave you the heck alone. Even though that Iran did sign the non-proliferation treaty in 1968, but that was under a different regime. So that revolution. So they just
don't feel need to enrich uranium in order to have nuclear power.
You also need to enrich uranium to get nuclear. You actually enrich uranium even as you make nuclear power. That is correct. Yes.
And there's kind of a different way of doing it, so it's easy to monitor.
Correct. It's easy
which way you're trying to enrich it.
So the goal of the deal was to limit the capacity that Iran was enriching uranium, so bringing it so stop doing the 90+% that they were doing and bringing it down to just energy level, which was like look at them. I could probably look at my notes to look at the actual number, but it's like, I think it's like 3%. So it's just enough to make basic nuclear power for 15 years. And they released a lot of the economic sanctions that were on Iran. Iran had they still kind of have one now, but most countries' middle class has got that decimated, but they had a nice liberalized,
and that's where the money that Obama gave Iran came from. It was actually Iran's money we were keeping from them.
It's through sanctions.
Through sanctions, going after the middle class, gutting them out, and the liberal regimes like, hey, we need to get this. And that soft power, which the United States has projected across the world, which for certain countries does work. A lot of different times when countries really don't it works with the people of the soft power, because
USAID was a big deal of this. It was a big use, and you call it soft power, but I think a lot of people I've heard, like in Europe, they call it soft defense or whatever. But
or soft defense.
But what they were doing, like we bombed, what was Nigeria? We bombed somebody because they were attacking Christians, but it's like
Nigeria.
Yeah, it was Nigeria. We took money out of that system. USAID was putting in there to help keep things stable.
Mm-hmm.
We pull out, and now the people in power start attacking the Christians. We created that situation.
And the elite people, liberal, like they say.
I asked a Nigerian Uber driver about that last week, and she basically was like, "Look, it's Wahhabists. It is Boko Haram. It is ISIS, essentially moving into moderate Muslims of areas of the country where Christians live, and there are more Muslims being slaughtered than Christians, but Muslims are slaughtering Muslims and Christians because they're radicals. They're monsters. They're evil. So I mean, there's not enough rice that we could send to the region that's going to convince those people to like.
No, it's not like convincing them not to do anything. It's more giving more stability to the people and helping them defend.
Yeah. Right. So you get less people like that was a big deal with that's one way that Al Qaeda and ISIS moved into the region and would win people over is they would provide food and medicine and healthcare and take care of the
Palestine
community.
was a lot like that too.
Yeah.
We were trying to help there, and then anyway, back to
so yeah.
Yeah.
But so soft power, I think, definitely has its place. You look at Vietnam; they're allies of ours. We went to war with them 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
But we used our economy. A lot of your T-shirts, for instance, are made in Vietnam. Japan, your economy, your culture, your entertainment, these are things that can
the Berlin Wall
create
fell
peace.
because of that.
A communist country that is constantly or just so I tell a lot of libertarians like, hey, can't say communism doesn't work because China's sitting right there, Vietnam's sitting right there.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not saying I want to live in a communist state, and I'm saying this is the best system, but it's just like the whole defense, like, hey, it doesn't work wherever we try. Bull crap, China, Vietnam, sitting right there.
Yeah, the hubris of the last 30 years, though, is that Americans think that everybody wants to be Americans.
Correct.
That people want to live with our culture, that they want to live with our entertainment.
Yep.
And that's just not, that may work in Russia where it's a Western
It's also a
developed
blindness
society.
of capitalism too, where they say capitalism is great. Yes, but if you don't keep it fixed, if you don't keep maintaining it, then you end up with huge inequalities, wealth issues.
It's destructive to the extended family, and when family is the most important piece of your culture, American style capitalism culture, cronyism's everywhere.
If you want to keep capitalism, you got to fix it. You can't, because if you don't, people are going to go with something else.
You've got to let the people in the marketplace that capitalism is over to regulate it. And being regulated to benefit the people of that system. The biggest problem, just like we're having in the United States, is that these go back to data centers here in Indiana. Like a lot of people are protesting because capitalism is doing. They say this is neat for these data centers, but the people who are actually here, hey, we're forgetting all the drawbacks, and they're exporting all the good out of it. It's not that all these data centers are going to bring billions of dollars to the state of Indiana. No, they're extracting. They're turning basically Indiana and the Midwest basically into Africa as they extract everything and take it back to Europe, aka the coast.
Where I'm at, it's all solar farm stuff.
Yeah. But no, the Iran nuclear had teeth. It was talking about so if anything happened, they go after these sanctions snap back on. It was so different. It was the EU was with it. China was on was helping with these sanctions. Japan, India. Don't think Russia was on it, but I don't remember. And so they agreed. And it was starting to work. It was Iran was stepping down. It was like it agreed to allowing the inspector to come in. It was actually kind of working.
Not according to Benjamin Netanyahu and his fake bomb picture. Remember when he had the Wile E. Coyote bomb?
Correct.
At the and he's like, "This is a fake deal and it's a bad deal and they're lying and." And I'm not putting that past Iran, but
which Netanyahu had some points, right? Because the Iran nuclear deal, a lot of that was just centered around the nuke, and that was it. Conventional weapons, that was really on the table, and everyone knew that was probably going to be a non-starter.
And there was also people wanting to try and liberalize Iran a little bit, and that was trying to put that in there as well.
Yeah, because conventional weapons, no one else is willing to give the conventional weapons to step things conventional weapons down. So why are they? So I can understand why Netanyahu, because they're still in. Doesn't matter a nuke or conventional weapon, they're still in range.
Yeah,
it's like our fight against Ohio. They may not have missiles to launch at Indiana, but they can drive over here every time, and that's the problem. Screw Ohio.
Thank you.
So when Trump got in office, he pulled us out of the stupid Iran nuclear deal. And
it's like things like the TPP, which was meant to like curb China's economic growth. He pulled us out of that, and that was a huge mistake.
America trade agreement.
Which I can understand that because China really wasn't behaving to that. I think if they could have gotten better, stay inside the deal and just getting the other countries rally on the idea that if you're not going to do this, these teeth need to come in. And that never happened. It was more like people were like, cool, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing too.
Yeah.
That's not going to stop them unless you do some teeth. And It's that kid that Trump kid tantrum. Like, I can't get my way. No one's telling me no. I'm just going to
And
leave.
it's
Which
also the flaw in a lot of what he's trying to do is he's trying to pull us out and be America first, pull us out of the UN, pull us out of NATO, bring everything back here and not be involved in all that stuff. And then we want to make you guys do this stuff, and you're like, why? Because you've already pulled all of the leverage you had. You've pulled out.
Yeah.
So you don't have any leverage over us anymore. So screw you.
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
That's why negotiations they keep talking about negotiations and we're making progress and
With Iran.
Yeah. It like a lot of these rules, especially with the tariffs. If these tariffs keep sitting on the different things, Europe has already got upset at the way that American software has been for decades, right? The tariff thing and them thinking about trying to do tariffs for like our operating systems and software has made Europe go like, all right, cool, we'll develop our own.
Right.
And that separation will gut a lot of our we'll cleave our marketplace.
That was why we did the deal with the Saudi Arabians under Trump 1, because we wanted them to buy our defense products, because it's not the sale of the tank where you make the money, it's the replacement parts. And so if they buy China or Russia, then that is a tremendous amount of revenue for Russian countries. And so this is like the real concern, is that we're out of control as a country. Our president is out of control. He is on the mental decline. He has mental decline. He's erratic. He's erratic on impulse.
It's how you feel every day when he gets up in the morning, and how he feels that day is how
we're gonna
gonna
act, and it affects our economic system. It affects the economic systems of the other countries. He's now using the military to bomb countries outside of Congress. He's levying taxes based on his whim.
Yep.
Like, he's enriching his own family and himself, and companies that pay $5 million into his crypto all of a sudden get $500 million contracts. Like, this is the reality that like his friends are buying all of the media in the major media in the country.
Yeah.
So, like, this is literally the worst. This is the world libertarians have been warning you about. A person with near total control, no accountability, enriching himself on your dime, making your life worse, your life less safe, and military power across the world in whatever way he wants. At what point does every other country in the world go, you're not the reserve currency status anymore?
Right.
You're not the software we're buying anymore. You're not the culture we're going to watch.
Not the world leader.
We're not the world leader anymore. In fact, you're in the back bench.
Yeah.
And so all of these markets that we sell into for all of these different things, they just start buying Chinese. They buy Russian. They build it at home. Like, you have no idea how much poorer you will be, how unsafe you will be, and your kids.
Right.
It's so backwards.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily they'll buy directly from China. There's no risk of BRICS taking over the Federal Reserve currency, right? Not the Federal, but the World Reserve currency. But there are risks, and because other currencies aren't as stable as the U.S. currency was after World War II. But there's a lot of other countries that can do it, and they can build a system, especially if they all band together in EU style. Like, you know what, we can do this without you.
Euro is going to start.
It's projecting its power out, and the other thing is a lot of people's like, and once. I think a lot of the grumbling will happen is once Europe really does switch off of Windows. Like, we're not using Windows anymore. Germany has already done their own Linux OS, right? And I was like, well, you can't, Linux is hard to learn, right? But if everything's in the web browser, that experience is coming easier. And if the EU is willing to just dump money into developing another operating system, or they just, they convince something like, listen, this is what's going to happen. We're going to develop our own, or you can jump. Come over here.
Yeah.
And like, who's not going to take that deal?
Right.
And move their whole headquarters, especially if they get tariffed to God knows where. How hard would it be? Apple go, you know what? Cool. What can we have? You can have the whole country of Liechtenstein. We'll give you Liechtenstein.
How long have we heard libertarians complain about, we don't want Europe having a military? Because the EU used to be talking about, well, we want to have some defense forces and stuff. And they went in arms and nuts, and you can't do that, and everything else. And now they have no choice but to do that. We're telling them to do that.
Correct.
Because we're saying, well, we're not going to defend you anymore. Right. Okay, well,
and,
we got to defend ourselves. Now we got this army.
Yeah.
Now we can start pushing our weight around if you guys don't play ball.
And our military will cease the moment that we're not the world reserve currency, because it is very powerful, but it's very expensive and very hard to maintain. That will just wait. And a lot of it is set up like, oh, look what we can do based off trillions of dollars worth of infrastructure that supports it.
Yeah.
Every military person will tell you how hard it is to fix or do anything, and that it cannot sustain.
You're going to start seeing countries, especially in Europe, starting to say, you need to get those bases.
Yeah.
You started to see that in Germany recently, didn't you?
Yeah.
I thought I saw a story of like, hey, you do this, then we're going to take over the base. We'll take the land back.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, try. What were we doing? Maybe it was tariffs, or he was doing something that ticked off Germany, and some German politician said you'll have to vacate Rammstein.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
No, it's a huge possibility. Yeah, especially like they'll start speaking his language.
Yeah.
Cool. You can just change the deal midstream. Cool. We'll find out, and we'll just change the deal what you have to pay to be here.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we get this on the record, though. We all agree that this is an unconstitutional act that he's doing right now.
Correct. Yeah. We are
completely
Yeah,
and totally
it's
unconstitutional. Because I
so
get people
black
trying
and-
to say that it's not.
No,
I'm
it's
like,
black
excuse
and
me.
white. You have to go to Congress before you strike another country.
Yep.
Like the whole spirit of the emergency acts that have all been placed that he's trying to use is Iran bombs us, and so therefore the president can respond without waiting for Congress.
Right.
It's not the other way around.
Exactly.
Correct. Yeah.
It's not tariff these
You-
people because you want to.
You have so
Bomb-
many people who are defending Trump saying that the president can do whatever he wants to do for 90 days.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that is not what it says.
No.
The War Powers Act says in an imminent attack on the U.S.,
Yeah.
then he can act.
Even after 9/11, George Bush had Congress pass AUMF.
He was the last person to actually do it.
Yes.
Obama broke the law on constitutional wars.
Yeah.
I wrote about it years ago.
Mhm.
Trump's doing the same thing. They just
Yeah.
don't care.
No,
Biden-
because
Biden
who's
did
going
it
to
too.
stop them? It's like you said before he got elected. He can do whatever he wants because who's going to do anything about it?
Yeah, that was like the big thing that I wanted to bring up because we were going to cover like the Huckabee and Tucker,
Yeah.
right? Is the apologization of like, oh, well, you support him? It's like, what is this crappy like gradually? Oh, you support Stalin, right? You support you. I don't want to be like wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
It's a whole like the video thing, and also like my old notes on the whole like the Iran nuclear war thing. That was
What's really interesting is that we've talked about, I talked about that before the election. I was like, he's going to just do this. He's going to put his people in so nobody will say no to him. He can just do whatever he wants to do. And if anybody tells him no, he'll just say, we don't care. We're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
You're seeing this in the courts a lot with the immigration stuff. You've seen a lot of courts where they're just ignoring what the court says, or they're lying to the courts to a point where federal courts are now saying, we don't believe you anymore. We
Yeah.
don't trust you anymore. We're not giving you that deference that we used to give, where if you said you were doing something, we'd say, okay, you're doing it. Now, that's been fun. But now what we're seeing is these federal judges are starting to really get ticked off and push back. They are starting to threaten putting department head in contempt of court and threatening criminal contempt coming up soon. If it's things aren't going to get different. The Supreme Court screwed up really bad.
Yeah.
By during the birthright citizenship, they didn't want to just automatically rule and say no, you can't do that, which they should have done. But then they somehow in that decision eliminated nationwide injunctions or whatever.
Mm.
You can only now do an injunction against the person who's in front of you. He's
Interesting.
not even in your area. You just the person in front of you. So now you have all of these people who would used to be able to say you can't deport these people in this situation, blah blah blah, all over the country.
Right.
Now, every single one of those has to go to court and fight that case instead of having it be an automatic thing.
Mhm.
Now we have thousands and thousands of these cases glutting everything. Federal prosecutors who have just resigned and quit. So we got a third of the staff that we used to have
Yeah.
in the federal prosecutor. So there's prosecutors now who are like trying to fight these cases, and they've got 125 caseload that they're having to deal with.
Yep.
And they can't meet the deadlines. They can't get anything done. The judges are getting really upset about it.
Mhm.
It's getting really bad right now. And if I think the next couple months we're gonna see some fallout from a lot of that.
Yep.
It may be the finally somebody saying no. We'll see if it actually happens, but we may actually be hitting a limit.
Well, I was surprised that they said no to the tariffs. That they ruled against Trump with tariffs.
Well,
was unanimous.
They ruled against a specific type of tariff.
Yeah, but that's how it works. Like you can't.
Also in the footnote saying you could try these other ones if you want to.
Right.
Well, that's the lib interpretation.
Yeah.
But okay.
I think
No, that was what Kavanaugh said in his document.
Yeah, and then the thing is how we go with the Kansas and the trans
and the dissent.
But that's the other thing too. Well, that's the thing is that they've done this. I think Canada did the same thing. She takes the dissent decision and uses it as the dicta. And it's like, no, you can't do that, but they do it anyway. But what we found out in this last decision that came out, that a lot of people are starting, a lot of judicial people who really study the law and know how this stuff works are pointing out that these judges hate each other so much. Like it's not like right against left. They're the right people. They like Alito doesn't like Gorsuch. Doesn't like. I mean, they're all just at each other's throat, and it's showing up in the decisions now because they're writing decisions with 15 pages of my colleague said this and this is why he's wrong and this is stupid and blah blah blah. It's interesting to watch.
Yeah, but no, like so you're kind of right. It's going to get jammed up. Kansas and their trans ID thing is just going to jam up their court system. It'll be like 2,000 different people, basically suing them over. That's going to jam the court up. Back to the Chicago shooting case, that one was ridiculous because that car was supposed to be rammed because it's supposed to be the terrorists like to jam them up in like this whole like ambush. Yet what did ICE do? Drive that car back to DC, out of the jurisdiction, having to get it drive back, even though this thing is supposed to be immobile because it get rammed up. That case is over a year. It's going so because of that whole thing being jammed up. They can't get anything moved.
This thing is, we've got a lot of video thing, and there's like dozens and dozens and dozens of cases, hundreds of cases where they go, hey, the video evidence is showing exact opposite of what you're telling. You're lying to us. And if that's the case in all of those cases, what about the ones where there's no video evidence at? Then they're just lying and get away with it.
Correct.
They're just lying all the time.
Yeah. And recently I'm like, well, this hasn't happened in the past because a federal injunction would have been in place, like the whole ICE incident that went to, and then you'd be like, that federal injunction would have stopped.
Yeah.
They would have
federal injunction, like saying you can't do student loan relief.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. It was a federal injunction that these people said was needed in order to save the country. And now we have the same situation on the other side. And they're like, oh, you can't do that. The judges can't tell the federal government what to do.
Yeah, it was the same thing like when it was, what was it, the bump stock and the pistol grip, a lot of short SBR stuff that was going through. It was like those injunctions stopped whole swaths of the country having to go and register their firearms. Now, if that same type of case, instant gun registry, even though like, but each person has to put up a case. Cool, you're registering that you have a gun just by registering that you have a case.
It's even worse than that is that the administration knows this stuff is happening to where they won't appeal cases in districts that would maybe set a precedent. So they're just like saying, okay, we'll just let that one go. Because they're individuals now, they can kind of let these go here, these go here. Then they can appeal in cases like the Fifth Circuit where they have a lot of friendly people on the side and they'll just agree with what they say. They'll appeal there to get it established as precedents and stuff. So that's what game they're playing right now.
Well, let's start wrapping up because we're over time like usual, but it's been fun. It's like you get the blood flowing, you get back in here, you're just like, government. Final thoughts. Let's kind of go. Well, let's start with you, Reinhold.
It's like I said, I think we've talked before. I'm waiting to find out if there are any limits or any stops that are ever going to come up that this country is finally going to say, no, you can't do that. You need to be removed. When are we going to see that line be crossed to where enough people say, we've had enough?
Why do you think he wants to cheat in the midterms?
Oh, I know. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about because people are even upset about that. They're defending it. I don't get it. I don't.
Lunatics,
we don't have enough people saying, no, this is wrong, to the point where enough people in the Senate can't be in his pocket anymore to actually have him impeached. I want to see if there's ever going to be, if anybody should ever be impeached, it should have been him. The first, but we don't have a functional removal process. It's never happened.
Always chaps my ass when McConnell's like, Trump should not be doing this, blah, blah. It's like, your fault, dude.
Yeah. I mean, and this is also the reason why we have 6 conservatives on the Supreme Court, too. But until we see that actually play out, if we're not at a point where that should be done yet, what does that look like?
Yeah.
What does that point work? And if you get to that point, you can't employ it anymore because that person would have too much power. Right now, Trump has so much power that he's accumulated because he doesn't let anybody tell him no. He just does things anyway to where nobody's stopping him. So he's a mass power because of that. If you let him have more, you're never going to be able to. You try to impeach him and remove him, he'll just say, "I'll just dissolve the Congress." It's
right.
Been infected by woke liberals. We're going to dissolve the whole thing and pretend it doesn't exist. I'm going to keep doing what I want to do. That's the path we're going on. Are we going to say no or not? We'll find out. Turn in next week.
I mean, to that, like, you're at the doorstep of techno-feudalism. Like, you are at the doorstep of losing liberal democratic capitalism, liberalism, which is the freedom to choose as an individual the path that you live on in your life. Democracy, where you have a say in who rules over you, because government is monopolized violence, and therefore, if it exists, you get to have a participation in that. Capitalism, where everybody wakes up every day, uses their gifts to create an economy that is open and fair to all. And right now, you're looking at a bunch of tech billionaires using technology and the government to enrich themselves, to build an economy where you have to license everything from BlackRock, Amazon, Meta, and your whole life is a subscription. Buy a Volvo, got to pay a subscription fee to use your car. You don't own it. You have a John Deere tractor, you have to pay them a licensing fee. You don't own the keys to your tractor. They have software that will turn that on and off if you don't make your payments. This is the economy that we're heading towards. That's why BlackRock owns so much of, and now they're buying my electric company. Harry and I will be paying BlackRock, the largest utility deal.
Yep.
AES has been sold to BlackRock. So do you think you and I are going to get cheaper electricity? Because I just read that last year was the highest rate of corporate bankruptcies in a very long time, and every single one of those bankruptcies was owned by private equity because they go in and they squeeze out every little bit of profit, bankrupt it, sell off the assets, and then put up one of their solutions like Amazon where you get to, again, pay a license fee to them. So, like, you will exist in a world where you own nothing, you work for them, they get to control what you watch because they own Paramount, which controls, they own Oracle and Paramount, which owns CNN and CBS and For the Free Press and every movie title that you want. It's very clear where we're headed. The right and the left are all in agreement on it. They just seem to go, well, I want my guys to kind of have more influence over your guys. But this is where we're moving as an economy, and AI is going to do to white-collar jobs what globalization did to blue-collar jobs. And what happens when there's 30% unemployment, 50% unemployment in the next 2 decades? I don't know. I don't think people are just going to sit around and be jobless and go, thanks for the Netflix subscription. Never in the history of the world have billionaires ever just gone, yeah, I have too much money. Let me just give back. Let me make sure that other people, never in the history of the world has there been 50% unemployment and it gone well for those billionaires. So, or their governments. So let's see how this works. Let's see what happens, because everybody sees exactly where we're heading, which is neo-feudalism. But I don't know. Harry, that's my piggyback off of Reinhold's final thought.
Sorry, do you hear the people sing? No.
You want to talk about Les Mis?
Singing the Song of Angry Men?
The Les Mis is based on the 1838 French Revolution, where you had an abundance of overeducated young people who could not find work. And so they...
Wealth inequality was so bad that we are actually worse in that statistic now than they were then.
And so Hugo was part of that revolution. That's it. He wrote Les Mis as because of that experience.
And the only thing that's holding it back right now is that unemployment isn't that high.
Every point of unemployment, 100,000 people die.
Yeah,
So it's meaningful.
as it
like the
goes,
stuff means.
As it just keeps
I said, I just want to see where that line is that finally gets crossed, that we actually do something.
I think I feel like we're getting close. People don't know what to do, but people are right there with the economy and the government. And I'm not talking just about Trump. It is, I did everything right. I graduated in 2002 in the middle of that recession. I went to college. I graduated from then in 2008 in the middle of that recession. I get to the best part of my earning years where I'm going to be able to save for retirement. And then I get COVID, and then I get this recession. And so
one
now
medical event and you're bankrupt.
And so now, like, I've done everything right, and I'm not getting ahead, and I'm struggling to pay my bills, and a car is $80,000 and a $1,400 car payment and a $3,000 mortgage and a $2,300 student loan and $1,500 a month healthcare. Like, we're there. It's just these people don't know where to put that frustration and anger yet. Every single congressional election for the last decade has been an change election.
That's what Trump
and
has
for
been,
the first time in the history of the
frustration
country.
But he's the one.
And
was it?
Hey, white working class, which part of your life is better?
Yeah.
Donald Trump owns way more properties across the world now.
Yeah.
Donald Trump and his family
net worth
has tripled his net worth. David Ellison donates $5 million to a ballroom, and now he gets to own all of the movies in history.
Yes.
So what are you getting? Like, at what point are those people going to go, I've watched Falling Down too many times, and I want to be Michael Douglas today. So I feel like we're there. I really do. I just think people don't want to give up their big trucks and nice houses and lives of their kids to go fight a revolution. But January 6th was the first sign that people do have a willingness. And the political system rewarded those people, which only encourages both sides to do more of that in the future. In the last 10 years...
Where's the penalty for doing wrong?
Where's the penalty for burning down Minneapolis? Where's the penalty for
It's only penalty
anything?
if you lose. If you swing for the king, you cannot miss.
So, but I think people are really close. Like, I think...
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not... This is not a conservative Democrat. I think your average regular person who just graduated with me in Plainfield High School and you don't know their names, the frustration is just right at the surface with those people. I see it.
Yeah.
They just have nowhere to put it. They don't know what to do. But Donald Trump was not the answer. And all of those right-wing people who thought that he was going to save them, they all know he's full of crap. He's out for himself.
Yep. And it keeps a lot of them mad against trans people and other minority groups.
Yeah.
It keeps them mad so they're not talking with each other.
Yeah.
And that's the despicable part about it. It's the same thing when I've tried to tell a lot of Christian people when they try to rattle against different minorities like trans people. It's like, listen, what if you pray for patience, what is God going to send you? What is God going to send you? So God sends you a sheep that is irregular than any other sheep you've ever seen. And you do what? He's going to judge you by what? This is your faith. I'm trying to talk to you in your world. And he clearly showed what you're going to do to his sheep, that you judge them by their human flesh and not their soul. So that's on you. But he uses that on people, that confusions on people, like a devil, to convince people to not talk to other people to in their neighborhood and just communicate and be nice with people.
Well, you go watch any like civil rights footage of Southerners in the 60s. White Southerners are like, I don't know about them getting rights because that's an infringement on my rights.
Right, exactly.
Like it's the same playbook.
You demonize the immigrants. You
Right.
demonize the...
What is it? Not James Baldwin. What's the black gay author that Baldwin? Crap.
Yeah, Baldwin.
Yeah, Baldwin. Okay.
Yeah, James Baldwin. Yeah.
Sorry. Thank
I'm
you.
like, I
was
don't know.
right.
I don't know if W.E. Du Bois
When
played
he-
that on that team, but
He
like,
did other-
He left the United States and have to go to France because he was
yeah, it was Baldwin.
yeah, because it was a gay minority,
Right.
you know. So it's not unusual for like
Some of those clips of him on like some of those 60 talk shows are fire.
I was watching one that came up on was it Soul TV, and I was sitting there just stunned. I was like, man, I've never seen him just let him talk for an
Yeah.
hour.
Well, the debate he did with Buckley.
Buckley.
So,
There's a documentary about that, isn't there?
Yeah.
yeah,
I need to watch that.
Yeah, it was just like I can't believe they let this guy talk for it. I was just sitting there like I'm not doing anything. I called off. I'm like I'm coming in late to work. I'm finishing this.
He was great.
This.
I've read some of his books. He's amazing.
Yeah,
Final
and
thoughts?
I will say the thing that a lot of people don't understand, I think, especially on the right, they get so upset at their leftist neighbor because of the language that they use
Yeah.
and the economic system that they like, but they're correct on it's not a race or thing. This is pure class. You're not part of their class, their elite class. They don't care about the middle class. They see us as they hate us because we're not them and we're way above them, but we have ability to be them, right?
Mhm.
And I think that is more important than anything else that is going as because like that's trying to separate people. Is that they're trying to because as long as we're separated, when unemployment does jump and that anger happens, we fight with ourselves.
Mhm.
That's not who we should be fighting.
Right.
Like them owning like because you talked about them owning every movie. No, that is part of our culture. The DMCA Act gave them the power to own that thing and a lot of the copyright system. No, these movies are part of our culture. The people that created
Easy,
that stuff
comrade.
and did all that stuff, they got their money.
Private
All
property-
that stuff is our culture.
Private property rights are
They have released it
the
into
foundation
our
of
culture.
freedom.
It is ours. They released it into our culture. If you
Ours
didn't want to
who?
share it, keep it in your own. Keep it between your two ears. You released it out in the world. It is part of our culture. It is,
Harry Lennon over here.
and it's that aspect of getting around with your neighbors, know who they are. And I've said it again, like I'm telling you, this summer you should probably have some block parties and
Have black parties.
And-
But it's way more fun than white parties.
I'm just saying, like, yeah. Black people going out, meeting your community, having a cookout.
Yeah.
A lot of white people want to come to cookout. Have your own. Just have your own block party. Know everyone in your street. All you have to do,
All we're saying is get to know your neighbors so they don't eat you in 10 years.
you're going to need to know this. COVID happened. None of these agencies could help. These federal agencies, local agencies didn't help you. But if you knew who your neighbor was and knew each one that needed help,
Yep.
each one of us reached out. I helped so many neighbors out there just like, hey, I needed some coffee. I need some toilet paper. Hey, I was buying shit tickets for months scared of COVID. So I had toilet paper to spare.
Did you just say shit tickets?
Yeah, that's what they are. Shit tickets.
That's hilarious. It's crazy. That's crazy.
That is not my term, but it makes sense.
It's funny.
And you're going to need these people.
Yeah.
And you're going to need to be able to communicate through different systems and then understand that everybody wants the exact same thing, the ability to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yep.
It's the reason why you can't focus on anything because that's what you're supposed to do, not read the press. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
The world that matters are the 100 people coming to your funeral.
Yep.
And if you don't have 100 people coming to your funeral, then you need to start making some friends.
Yeah.
Get off the internet.
well, you could get on the internet. The
No, you
internet's
and I have a
fine.
fundamental
Yeah.
I think everything is fine in moderation and in how you use it.
Correct.
Video games, social media, your phone. These
Yep.
things are not inherently bad.
Yeah.
But like you have to look around and go, are there 50 people coming to my funeral? 10?
I will
100?
say that you also go in your community and you start developing wanting third spaces. A lot of
Yeah.
these things have also been destroyed from you, taken from you.
Yep.
Walmart has done a great job of destroying the mom and pop country stores that are out there in these little smaller communities. Same way, but the Dollar General has done it. Every other big box store has done it.
We just joined the Devon Country Club for $700 a year. You get to go and go to this neighborhood pool. It's pretty close to you. Well, you're the podcast house, but
Yeah,
and it's like
the Devington. Yeah,
but
yeah.
the Riviera Club, which that was like that's on the ropes because their membership has gone from 8,000 to 2,000, and it's just like people don't see the value of these clubs, or they don't see the value of like coffee houses. Like it's
And like
don't
real coffee houses, I don't need some uptight, pretentious coffee house. And when I say that, I'm not talking about Starbucks. I'm talking
doubt, but
I am talking about like the persons who started a coffee house as a hobby. And it's not really it's not meant
in
to
Plainfield, when I was in high school, there was a guy who opened a coffee house on Main Street just because he wanted a safe place for kids to come and hang out on Friday night.
Yes, yeah. Some place like that.
And he didn't make a lot of money.
Correct.
He eventually went out of business, but his intentions were, I want to help the community.
Yeah, so find these third places around in your community. Like I'm going to start. I've been trying to. I finally have gotten some of the dads in my neighborhood to understand what the heck I'm talking about because they've gotten so scared of the internet. And I'm like, oh, hey, that thing you kept talking about making a local internet so we could get on and no route out. Like we should do that now. And I'm like, all right, cool, awesome. If this is the spark it takes to get it to go, awesome. Let's do this. What I'm talking about is making a small local network so you have no route to host. You can still talk to your neighbors on your local net and share resources, right? And also protect your kids. So like, yeah, I want my kids to be able to get on Minecraft and communicate with their friends, but I don't want to communicate with the worldwide net. But yes, yeah.
Your kids on Roblox, they're in danger. That's all I'll say.
Your kids on the internet unsupervised, they're on danger.
It's an insane way to parent.
You do not get your kids on the net and not watch them. That is the same thing of dropping your kids off in the middle of New York City and walking away. If you won't do that with your kid, then don't do that with the internet. And don't trust the corporate safeguards to do that. That's like saying like, hey, the kid can't pull the trigger on my gun because there's a safety on it. Take some responsibility.
Yeah. Please. All right. Well, this has been a great episode. It's super fun. I hope you feel good. Listener, I bet you feel great about the future. It's not all written in stone that everything's going to turn out to shit. Okay? Just we're at a crucial point right now where we need to start doing some things and thinking about some things because we're heading in a direction. But just because you're heading in that direction doesn't mean you're going to end up at that destination. We've seen that tons and tons in history. So just pay attention and notice some of the things maybe we're talking about and learn a little bit more and message Harry. Maybe he has time to respond. Reinhold, I know he does. So get in the Facebook group and chat with others. And we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you again next month. Thanks.